Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. TyJon Charlie here. I'm going to be talking a lot about my recent releases here. It's kind of the main topic of conversation, I guess. I recently released a live full one-man band cover of one of my all-time favorite songs by King of the Rodeo by Kings of Leon. I kind of, I don't do it exactly like they do it because if I'm recording cover songs, I definitely want them to be kind of a unique take or, a song that really means a lot. And this happens to be both. So, a song means a lot to me because it was my introduction to rock music. I talked about this, I think, a little bit on the last podcast, but it, before I was into any sort of rock songs, I pretty much listened to mostly acoustic stuff. I was, into a lot of Dave Matthews Band, Dave Matthews solo stuff, and, Jack Johnson, Ben Harper, Jason Mraz. I liked a lot of that stuff. And then my brother Ryan showed me a new band that I'd never heard of called Kings of Leon. And I believe this was on the Aha Shake Heartbreak album, song number 2. But really, those first 3 albums they have are, in my opinion, almost perfect back to back, cover to cover. It's probably been my favorite rock band since shortly thereafter. I've been, they've grown a lot and kind of changed their style quite a bit. And I even liked Only by the Night, Come Around Sundown, but those first 3 albums just changed the game for me and my music taste, I think. So young and youth and young manhood, maybe that's the first. I struggle with the names a little bit, but that's kind of like their straight, like gritty southern rock album. Definitely stylistic, but it's kind of the songs on that album sound pretty standardly just rock songs. And I think Aha Shake a Heartbreak after that was a kind of messing around, experimenting a little bit with things, and again, just a cover to cover great album. That one, and Because of the Times, the one right after, I think are my 2 all-time favorite. There's a lot of really weird songs on Aha Shake a Heartbreak, and it's fun to say. But they started experimenting with some weird songwriting styles and different textures. They have one of the weirdest songs, most original songs I've ever heard, really, on that album called Milk. Now, it was funny because when I was in high school and I heard them for the first time, I was really into acoustic songs, really. So I went as soon as I heard an acoustic guitar on that one, I was like, "Ooh, this might be the one." Even though I'd kind of previously liked King of the Rodeo from the first spin, but I remember just thinking it was kind of weird. King of the Rodeo was like, I kind of like this, but I don't really know why. I'll get into that maybe a little bit later. But Day Old Blues and Milk were the two kind of more acoustic songs on that album. And Day Old Blues, kind of more standard, even though it's still pretty weird. It doesn't sound, still kind of its own genre. I guess that's kind of why I like the Kings of Leon, because those first albums just, specifically Aha Shake a Heartbreak and Because of the Times, just have a lot of songs that don't really sound like anything else, and very original, both in their songwriting and their performance of the songs and how they wrote the music, and even how they recorded it is pretty epic. Even though that part of it, I wouldn't say, it's just very specific how they recorded it. I don't think it's necessarily as epic as some of the other stuff. But anyway, the song Milk, so it's just funny. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, ew, like that acoustic kind of sounds a little rough. And then, as the song wore on, the kicks up and the other instruments get added eventually. It grew on me by the end of the song, but by no means was like my favorite song. And as I listened to it more, for some reason, it's such a weird, the lyrics are weird, the form's weird, the mix is weird, The way he sings it is weird. It's very, very original. And the older I get, I think the more I appreciate that kind of complete uniqueness that Milk has. It's another one I cover. I would love to get that one, my version of that, out sometime. But anyway, so Day Old Blues was the other acoustic one on that album. But that album, all the electric songs are really good too. I mean, there's, but that's kind of was a little bit more of the same, I think, in some regards to their Young Youth and Manhood. It was kind of an elaboration in that it got a little more experimental, probably. But anyhow, Day Old Blues is a weird one. Kind of it's more as vocal, I think, in that one, and the honesty in the lyrics is hard to not relate to a little bit. And he's kind of talking about there's a couple lines where he's talking about being a singer and stuff, and he has a weird voice, so it's like extra relatable. And then so King of the Rodeo, that was the first rock song that I ever liked. It kind of turned me on to Kings of Leon. And I don't know. It's just like perfectly mixed, I think, is part of it. It's like if you listen to the original, everything's panned very precisely, and you can hear every instrument as much as you need to hear every instrument. And, my version of it, I'm kind of trying to do almost multiple instruments. I'm doing the one-man band, so I'm trying to do kind of a generic bass part, but the actual bass part's pretty unique itself. It's like every part of that song is unique, and the altogether it's unique, because it's even more unique, I guess. But it just fits together like a perfect puzzle on the original, and I don't know, just always loved that song, and I've always played it live. It's not one of those songs you really play a whole lot at like bars and stuff, but some days I'm just feeling it. I just want to feeling good. I have it so I do a medley of songs when I play live, kind of a bunch of cover songs, and of course within that is my cover of Use Somebody, and that's the one that most people know by them, and that's a great song. I can't really listen to it anymore because I think when it came out, it kind of blew up on the radio, and I heard it 80,000 times. And to this day, I still can't. I can appreciate how the song is written and fits together and everything. But anyhow, so when I play that, Use Somebody, if I'm in the right mood, because I can just go right into King of the Rodeo, I will maybe throw that in there. And people don't really know it. I think that's part of the reason that I was excited about getting a cover of it, because I don't know that it's a song, that one album, I think Only by the Night, that was their, had Sex on Fire, which probably one of my least favorite Kings of Leon songs that I see get covered all the time, and Use Somebody, which I still love that song, but I just heard it too many times. And I will say there's a lot of other excellent songs on that album also. I mean, there's it's a lot of good stuff. It was just kind of, they were going for something different. It was like their arena rock album, I guess. There were a lot of the songs sound a little bit more U2-esque, which I like that kind of music too. And I think that his voice is still unique enough to make it kind of their own take on a lot of that stuff. Manhattan is another one I really like on that one that didn't get a lot of airtime, but it's a great album cover to cover. And I think the one after that is Come Around Sundown, and that pretty solid. Not my favorite, but some really good songs on that, and kind of getting away from that, still with a touch of that arena rock feel. But so, when I go back and listen to Aha Shake a Heartbreak, it's super nostalgic for me, because I listened to it. It was like one of my main albums when I was in high school and college, and then that song specifically. But anyhow, so my version, I'm kind of doing multiple parts, like, but I don't know if that takes away from it or not, but like in the original recording, the way they have it panned, it's like the rhythm guitar is just doing this high kind of bell chimey part in one ear, and then you got the lead guitar in the other, which has a lot of like licks within the song, and then solo at one point, and then it's kind of a unique bass part. Even the drum beat, super simple, but it just fits like so cool. I don't know how that song always just feels cool. So I don't throw it in a lot, but when I do, it's always fun to play. But I don't want to. When I'm playing live at bars and people don't really know who I am, and I'm playing all these other kind of cover, sing-along type things, it's a decision I have to make. Is this crowd going to be okay with me doing kind of a weirder not as pop? Or if nobody's listening, I can always slip it in and just have fun for me. But if, I got them hanging on my every song, all the choruses and stuff to all these pop songs, I feel like that's one that I would probably lose a lot of people on. So, I kind of edit it out in my head, which is one of the fun things about doing. I've built this medley of kind of just knocking out all the regular pop rock, kind of a little bit of country, a little bit of more current stuff, but a lot of sing-alongs. That's where I cover my Don't Stop Believin' by Journey and Wagon Wheel and With or Without You, U2. And they're all kind of the same chord progression, just some of them are slightly different rhythms, some of them change a few chords around, and I just move them all to a key that's kind of comfortable, which happens to be A. Nobody really cares probably about that, but I've built it into this thing where I can, I have a standard start. I usually start it with Don't Stop Believin', and then I go right into Wagon Wheel, Country Road, if the crowd is feeling right, and then I start to have a little fun with it as far as like, okay, well, what song next? And I built it so I can do almost an hour of straight songs, like it's one song, and just go one into the next, into the next. And I think that that's partially because you just get kind of bored doing. It started small. I had like 5 songs I would do back to back to back. Even when I used to play with like Blair and Kevin and Big D, we had a version of a medley that was probably 5 or 6 songs. And then I got to a point where I was like, oh, that one would fit in there. And then, oh, that one would fit in there. How would I do this one in that key? How would I do this one with this chording? And so it's, it keeps it fun. Those sing-along songs that I've done 1,000 times can be a little dry for me playing. So I think that thinking about it like the medley of it all, the mashup, what should I do next? Sometimes I change the order. Sometimes I skip, 3 songs that are kind of pop songs I don't think the crowd would be into. Kind of being prejudiced a little bit, kind of just trying to think of what is this crowd like so far, and what do I think they will continue to like. And then I have another medley I do that's kind of more current pop, kind of indie folk type stuff, early thousands, some of it, and some of it a little bit newer. Like I do Tyler Childers, Ho Hey Home. Sometimes I throw You Can Call Me Al in there, Paul Simon. And then I have like Meet Me at Our Spot, and sometimes I do Real Love, which is a weird one by Mary J. Blige. I do a cover of a cover on that one, Mike Doughty or it's a Mike Doughty version of Real Love by Mary J. Blige. I know it's a mouthful there. And then I think I might be missing Harry Styles. There's a Harry Styles song, and then I do Sweet Dreams by the Rhythmics, and then redone by Marilyn Manson. And I can move all those to the same key as the other medley if I feel like it, or if I didn't do that early. I don't know. There's a lot of options with it, and I think that because I've played all those songs way too many times, not all of them, but a lot of them, it's fun to, in real time, just kind of guess what people will be into and think in the moment, how can I transition? How can I skip these 3 songs? But anyway, so there's a long way to get to. Occasionally, I throw a couple Kings of Leon, really 3. I can do up to 3 in that medley. But, everybody knows Use Somebody. I can do King of the Rodeo, the single I just released. And I can also do another one I'm probably going to release at some point from that same session called Pickup Trucks. it's been definitely one of my all-time favorite bands, and so I can do a lot more of their song. I could probably do 4 more of their tunes. I've just always, and because their parts are so separated and distinguished, it's always kind of fun to think, since I'm playing by myself most of the time, it's like, how can I make this sound more full and more like kind of how the original is, just one guy and a guitar. And then, now I do the foot drums and got the pedal board to fill in a bunch of extra instruments and things. So I don't know. It's always fun when I get to throw some extra Kings of Leon songs into sets. But I would say, and Kings of Leon, I do a Tom Pedley, I call it, where it's a bunch of Tom Petty songs back to back to back. A little Dave Matthews one, the one I was telling you about earlier. And I have this like subset of kind of older songs where it's like Shout, Otis Day and the Night. I can't remember the band. There's a couple versions of that song, but I pretty much do the one from Animal House, and then I transition to Louie Louie, which is also in that same movie, and then I transition from that to Wild Thing because I think it's kind of a similar time period. Sometimes I'll do the Stones. You can't always get what you want when I'm doing that medley, and I will a lot of times end it with Jack and Diane by John Mellencamp. But I don't know, it just keeps the cover shows fun when you're kind of moving and grooving and deciding what should go where, and I'm going to skip this song, and then you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll throw it in here instead. And I don't know, I got this little obsession with doing medleys because once I realized how chord progressions work, I think it was kind of interesting there used to be this video of, there's just 3 comedians, and they were kind of making some jokes and doing just the 1-5-6-4 pattern and how many songs you could play. And it just really got me thinking about how many songs can I put together and what different ways. And, that way also it keeps it more in my range a lot of the time. So, if I was trying to sing Journey, Don't Stop Believing in the original range, I would just have no chance. But I have a Beatles medley where I do, I think there's 6 Beatles songs I do in a row. So, I guess I just got mildly obsessed with doing that style of when I do covers, but it can kind of be a double-edged sword because, if I'm doing the pop one, it usually goes well, but sometimes I'll start into one of those other ones and I should cut it because it's like not the right crowd or they're not feeling it. But it's like, well, I started this train. So with like the Beatles one and the Petty one, once I get going, it's like I want to play the rest of it. And, those are more rehearsed. Those don't have as much like bring in, drop out kind of element to them. So, it's like one long song, and if the crowd isn't feeling the first 2 Beatles songs, it's like I should just stop. But it's like I probably won't play some of these other ones if I don't keep going. So that can be tricky sometimes, but I always enjoy those bands, or else I wouldn't be doing, medleys of their songs. I can kind of be a little with the Pedley. I can take a few out or shorten a lot of them if I need to. But Petty's one of those guys that I just didn't get into early enough. And once I finally did it, I was playing with the band and we'd doing a couple of his songs, and then I was like, okay, well let's do this one, let's do that one, and then we got to where we were doing like 5 in a row. I think I got it up to 8 now, 8 or 9. But you just don't realize how many amazing songs that guy has until you just kind of look at it like the hits. Because once you go through all his hits, it's like I knew every word to most of those songs. Like I didn't have to work that hard. I'd heard them all so many times. But ideally, I'd be doing a lot more original shows and. But when I have to play covers, I've learned so many, and it's I keep them active. It's hard. It's hard for I do lose some songs here and there. Songs that don't really make sense to play. Like a good example of that would be "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies. Like, has to be the right crowd, has to be the right vibe, and I have to feel like, oh, I played it kind of recently. I'm gonna do an okay job of it. Because sometimes you make those choices and you're like, ooh, I should have practiced that one maybe maybe a little bit more before just trying to bust it out. But really, there's so many X factors. Like, did you sleep good enough the night before? Have you practiced enough? How's your voice feeling that day? Where are you at vocally? Are you in your head, or in your chest, or in your diaphragm kind of belly area? And it's like I'm trying to maintain this 5-hour, 6-hour set that I can do, a bunch of covers. Some of them are just more for me, I think. Like if I'm doing a long cover set and they all have to be covers and it's like a 4-hour, I'm probably going to throw a few in there that nobody knows. That is more for me. Like I'll do a Good Night Chicago by Rainbow Kitten Surprise, or The Head and Heart, Lost in My Mind. That's one I throw in every so often. But pretty much any of the other Kings of Leon songs. The Dave mashup one, Dave Matthews one, definitely has to be the right crowd to do that one. But because those aren't necessarily as universal. Like if I'm doing the Tom Petty one, I feel like most people, if they like music, they like a lot of Petty songs. I mean, there's definitely been times where people are like, I remember one time when it was so long, like 10 years ago, I was playing with the band still, and there was one night where I was playing at this college bar, and there was a frat came in, and I was getting to third or fourth Tom Petty song, and one guy's like, "We get it, you like Tom Petty," and it was funny heckle kind of, but he's ready to move on to something different. But in that case, a lot of times I'm just gonna definitely play more Tom Petty songs, but it just depends on the vibe I have for the night. If I'm feeling good, I'm going to do more what I want. If I'm feeling a little rough, I'm going to try to placate to the crowd a little bit and hopefully play some things that at least they like and want to hear. And it's always a battle. I wish I didn't have that, trying to get people to like what I'm doing at these cover gigs so much. But it's like the point is to sell beer. That's why you're there. And your way you do that is to make music that people are grooving to. And sometimes I just don't have the confidence to play, if I'm not feeling quite, the sounds weird or something. There's a couple of those bars that I play at that it almost never sounds good. I am like, I bat like 1 in 3. And so, on those nights where I can't quite hear it right, I'm going to be doing a lot of those medleys and mashups. And I'm not going to be doing as weird of covers that I might do. But anyway, I really enjoy having a listenable, pretty decent live version of King of the Rodeo, because it's probably in my top 10 songs of all time. So if you want to check that out, it's on Spotify and Apple and anywhere you stream music. And, forgive me for just rambling. I don't know. I feel a little out of sorts today, I guess. But my other songs that I've recently released: Completely Closed, Scarface, which Scarface is kind of my theme song because I got the scar on the face, which I don't know if you can tell, but sounds a lot tougher than it is. So, but that's kind of a newer one. Like Completely Closed is a really old song that I re-recorded kind of recently, whereas Scarface is kind of a newer tune to get out. And I'm kind of at my limit as far as what I have ready to record for in the studio for my kind of more studio quality singles, not the live stuff. I have a lot of live stuff still that I can, a few covers, a few originals I can still kind of mix and master. But I've been kind of thinking about what I'm gonna do, because I'm doing the acoustic album. And so it's like my idea initially was just do acoustic versions of songs you're gonna eventually record. But I've been liking playing my song Gloria lately, and I already, with the band The Unemployed Architects, we have a pretty good quality version of that. So it's like I don't know that I'd ever go back and kind of redo, but I don't have a really solid acoustic version. I have a video of me playing it live that tends to do good online, which is partially, why I'm thinking about trying to maybe redo that as a new release, kind of revamped and better quality. And then, I have a few more but there's some, like the Trilogy song, where it's kind of the same case. We did a full band version, never really liked it that much, but that was when we were experimenting with some home recording. And I got I got a really good live version of the one-man band version of that one in the Eddie Clips. Really happy with the way that one turned out. Didn't come out too long ago, but it's like it would be kind of cool to kind of do it exactly right, I have that way, and then maybe I wouldn't end up and do another full band version. But I don't know. I'm kind of I got my song Logan, I got Fool's Gold. I know those are going on there. And then I kind of started writing this whole other album. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to go about recording it, but I would really like to focus on doing that kind of more at home, like a more kind of more abstract kind of EP maybe. And then I have a couple other songs that don't know for sure. I think Station 11, if I did record more of a acoustic or album EP type version, it would be on this new thing I'm thinking about, more abstract, because that's a very abstract song, and it kind of fits in tuning wise and feel from some of the other ones I've been writing. But anyway, that's kind of what's been going on. I'm going to Nashville this next week. I'm playing on a podcast called Playlisted. My buddy Aaron Newsom's played on it a few times, and so now I get to go. We're going down together. He's on the same show. It's kind of like an American Idol of podcast, or of American Idol podcast, but it's for songwriting. And I'm pretty nervous about that. I don't know. It's just a long drive if I don't get past, So hopefully that'll go well. We'll see what happens. I'm going to do my song Syrup. So kind of been prepping for that. Got a few shows this weekend, a few shows the rest of the year, maybe 6 or something till the end of the year. And I don't know. It's been a weird few months booking wise, so I don't know. I'm hoping that'll turn around. I got a good amount in January, good enough amount, but would definitely like to get a few more. So we'll see what happens. It's weird. It's like right now I'm doing better online than I've ever done. Like my monthly listeners on Spotify is almost 7 times what it had been. And my TikTok stuff is going good for I think that's, those are related. I think I'm doing a lot more TikTok stuff, which funnels people to the Spotify to check me out. And the one that does the best is that Station 11 song, which is cool because I've always loved that. That's been one of my favorite new recordings. And it's weird though, it's kind of, it's different. It's not a very standard sounding song. It's like the parts are all over the place, I would say. But I like that scatterbrainness of it, and it fits for what the song's about and everything. So it's cool that that's the one that people seem to like on TikTok. Completely Closed is another one that probably close second, but for some reason that Station 11 song, that's what's really been killing it. So, and from everything I read and everything I see, as far as all the TikTok guru people, they're just keep posting the same thing. And that's been working, which is pretty crazy. So the post I figured out that worked takes me I do 3 different ones. It takes about 10 minutes a day. So very doable, but it took me forever, a lot of experimenting to figure out a format that actually gets people receptive to actually give my stuff a chance and maybe go check it out on a different platform. But it's been cool seeing that part of it, but it's weird because that part's up, and then like the booking, the actual live performances haven't been as fruitful. I mean, I'm still busy. I'm just not as busy as I want to be. But that's a whole nother story anyway. But King of the Rodeo, my new single, one-man band live in the studio over at Eclipse Studios in Normal. Recently had Completely Closed, had Scarface, Station 11, my version of Harvest Moon, the Trilogy song, which is one that I was talking about a few tracks back, and When You're Gone. Still have Syrup and The Light. So those are kind of all the new ones to check out if you're looking for just to see what's up on my Spotify or anywhere else you stream. But anyway, as always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and I will plan on talking to y'all soon. Have a good one.